All right, so welcome back to the Motion Sim Builders channel. Today we've got Thanos from the famous Thanos Electronics motion controllers company. Thanos, thank you for coming on today. I appreciate it. You are a living legend in the sim racing world. I've been following you for a long, long time. Your YouTube channel goes way, 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 way back. With no further ado, go ahead and take the floor. I'll let you introduce yourself and give us a little history here.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not a code or anything. You're just building stuff for everybody else. It's not stuff that I make for myself. I barely use that stuff.
You barely use it, but yeah, you're the mastermind behind some of the best motion sim out there.
Well, I started with wanted to build stuff, especially for motion simulator stuff since '95 actually.
Yeah, I know. I saw your first rig out of PVC plastic pipe. I thought that was like the coolest thing when I saw that.
Yeah, that was later when I figured out how to interface actually to games. But before that, I was like doing those door on SRV rides, for example. You have the movie, everything is moving.
Yes.
That was really fun back then, like in carnivals and stuff.
Yeah.
And after that, I wanted actually to get some feedback like that in games. So the first thing I got was like, I don't know, it was like 2001. I got one of these Microsoft Sidewinder joysticks.
Yeah, I've got one right over there on my bench. Hey, grab me that controller.
It still works. I have it here.
Just,
I wish I could still make it work with the
I've
2020.
Got one right here. Look at that. What are the odds? There's a Sidewinder.
Yeah. I have the version 2 actually. That has the.
Oh, you got the new version. Yeah, you got from. Okay, all right, that's an older one. It's like a '95 version.
Yes, I got the one that's '98 version or something. It has the motors inside, the force feedback.
Yeah, the force feedback, the vibration. Yep. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted that to have it work with other games as well, because not lots of games support force feedback back then.
Right. No, there was nothing really force feedback. Right.
Yeah, it was just Microsoft. That's all. I mean, there was a few steering wheels start coming up. I think Microsoft made a few, or that was even before. Or I'm not remember. I don't remember the
yeah, Microsoft in '98. That was back when they had the MSN Gaming Zone. They had the Motocross Madness game. They had the Monster Trucks game. That was right when it started kind of really becoming, better. It was the 16-bit graphics cards were out. Things were starting to get good.
Yeah, I mean, I started with really simple games back then. I remember Test Drive 3.
Yes, just a great game. Great game.
Yeah, that was on 386DX. I was using.
Oh, you're dating us both, Thanos. Come on, I feel like I'm only 25. I'm not almost 50. Come on, you're killing me. Yes.
Well, I'm old too. I mean, it's not like we're spring chickens.
Now, is this back? Were you in Greece back then in the '90s? When did you move to the States?
Yeah, I moved around 2010.
2010. Okay. All right.
Later. So I did back then. I was working odd jobs, having to. Computer technician. I was making computers, so I had a chance to test lots of computer systems newer at the time, because customers kept getting new stuff. I was testing new stuff, so that's how I was like getting more into technology about computers and peripherals and stuff. Nice. I even went to a customer's home to set up his computer, and he wanted to set up a flight. C8 flight module stuff, so we had the yoke and everything.
Yep.
So I went to his house. I set up everything, and he was a flight instructor. So I told him, okay, let me set up the controls to everything so you can test in the game. So he had the Flight Simulator 2000, I think, when I was testing that. Yep. And I did the takeoff, flight, banks, and the radars and everything. He's like, oh, you know how to fly. You can fly with me. I was like, I never fly before. It actually, a week after, we went and had my first flight.
How cool is that? That's awesome.
That was in a smaller plane. I don't remember exactly the model right now, but it was like a smaller than Cessna. So I did my takes off normally. The only thing I didn't handle it was the communications. I didn't have any of that.
You had the radio on. Yep.
Yeah, but I had I knew all the rest. The controls, engine start, procedures. We even do the stall, like you have to go there, drop the engine, so you drop
So
vertically.
yeah, turn the engine off so you're getting flight. And obviously that must have went well because you're still here today, so you didn't crash and burn. So that's a plus.
Oh no, we did that touch and go. So we did lots of stuff. It was like an hour flight, which
That's awesome.
Actually what got me even further to the motion simulators, because of the gnose of that, I wanted to have more motion for here, for example, because I tried, I had built by 2006, 2007, I had a Joyrider platform that was just with wiper motors, so just doing the basic stuff.
That's my very first one had
access.
wiper motors. I had a two-key machine with 2 wiper motors. That was my first rig 10 years ago.
Yeah, but it didn't have heat, like so.
Correct. I know. Yep.
So when I did the actual 60OF platforms, there's a Stewart type, and you can actually see the heat. I was like, okay, that's it, because that was when you can recreate the effect,
Right.
But yeah, then it was lots of things going on. I had to, like you said, I had to move to US at one point, and then I got into other jobs that didn't allow me too much progress. So it was for a few years, so, like working a little bit, weekends, whatever, So I was doing a little bit of improvement every time. I was in touch with all the motion software builders, creators, whatever. Martin, Dustin, even Pedro, the last few years.
Yeah.
And it was only recently we had contact with Marcel Gilbert for the sim racing. So
yeah, sim racing studio. Yeah, they're not too far from me. They're just over the border in Canada. They're about 4 hours from me. Those guys are great. Because I was one of the early customers of DOF Reality. If you've seen the other videos there, I started the group because I had no support here in the US, and that group exploded. It's got almost 10,000 people in that support group. And it's kind of funny because I still have the 3DOF machine, and my buddies are actually right now in my shop. They're right there actually running the machine, which is pretty cool. And I've been collecting the parts to build my 6DOF machine. And that was why I reached out to you and I said, hey, I still want to do the interview. So I can't thank you enough for sending me that board. I am so excited. I got my 3D printer printing up the case and the parts for it right now.
No mention. I mean, it's it took a year to reach that level, But,
right.
But it's just natural progress because it's what people need. It's something that's more plug and play.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm going to document my whole build. Yep.
Yeah, because I remember the early years when I had to do with TC motor, for example. It was loads of the UI. You have to do everything, wiring. You have when I started building my own controller back then, just 2008, when I was doing for the Joyrider stuff, I actually had to build my own H-bridge for the motors because there wasn't such a thing,
Arduino wasn't around, right? You had to do it all from the ground up.
Arduino, wasn't around. I had to do my own. I was programming in assembly even back then, the microcontroller. So I didn't really need the Arduino. It was actually working much better than I tried some Arduino when it came out. It was really low quality, slow. The labels are too generic, slow. You couldn't do stuff you wanted accurately and fast.
Right.
It didn't have the performance. Now they kind of improved it a bit, but instead of improving the communication of the hardware, just prefer to add faster microprocessors. So it's like they have now 32-bit microcontrollers or support for ESP, for example, the ESP32.
I just actually set up an ESP board the other day.
Yeah, they have crazy speeds.
They do. Yeah, for such a small board. I mean, the board is this big and it's amazing.
But still work slow.
Correct.
There's lots of wasted potential on this because you're not working on low level. So you only do generic programming. So that's the thing. It got away from working on microcontrollers in hardware, actually, just to turn everybody as much to software. And that's the thing that I didn't really like about Arduino. It's getting too much generic. You might think you're getting like, but it supports hardware, it supports, little pulses stuff. Yeah, but these are not real time. There's I was always doing in a semi low level
Mhm.
for this kind of work, so it was easier. Even the latest ones I have now, I was doing some work with 32-bit microcontroller. I'm trying to get it up.
Yep. Okay.
Now
Yep.
the USB, everything.
Yeah.
But
USB-C on the side. Yep. Yep.
yeah, I mean it's a natural projection. You know, like I have to switch sometime from that.
Mhm.
But the thing is, chip shortage right now. It's like terrible. I can't schedule. I mean, when you're working low level on a certain hardware, you just can just switch to something else without lots of changes because it's written for specific hardware. So unless I can find lots of microcontrollers, for example, specific type that I can program, then I can have available. My dog.
That's fine. I've got dogs too. They're small farm at home.
so you know it's it'll hard to progress right now. It's really hard to set chip shortage.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. The
progress.
cost of goods is crazy. Like right now, I mean, everything lead times are up. I mean, it's so tough to get parts. It's incredible how much it's changed in the last
Yeah,
3 years. It's so tough. So
I had to order in advance, at least for the older controller, for the MC. You know, for example, like almost 1,000 chips in advance last year, which were almost gone now. You know, I'm trying to secure some more. And the dates, the manufacturers keep pushing back the dates.
you do,
So
yeah.
yeah, they're saying, oh, spring 2022, you're gonna have all the chips back, and no, it
No.
didn't happen. Now it's spring 23, and then next thing you know, it'll be spring 24. You know?
Yeah, the company I work for, we make large thermoformers, sealing units, and we're actually seeing lead times now for some of the equipment that we order 13, 14, 15 months out. We're talking over a year to get parts. I mean, we're taking orders in, but we can't produce them for another year.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, even this one, even if I have microcontrollers, there's like a tiny, tiny chip that's what I can't find for anything right now. I mean,
Can't get it. Yep. Isn't that nuts?
it's like going. It's like there's not even lead time when it's gonna be back. You know,
That right. No lead time. Right. We'll get it when we'll call you when it comes in.
Yeah, if they make it. If maybe they said, okay, we'll move on. You know, it's been years now.
Yeah. Awful. That's awful.
But yeah, anyway, you know, it's just with progress. You know, like I just like to help people mostly. You know, so that's why I try to make things like most plug and play instead of having to depend to how to solder things. So when I got this, you know, I just said, okay, there's a servo that everybody can find easily, AliExpress or wherever.
Yep, Alibaba. Yep, exactly.
Just,
yep.
They can
Plug
buy
it
the
in.
cables. They can buy the cables ready from the market, which that was a good thing. Just plug everything and have minimum things to work with. You know.
Yep.
It's really secure too, so it's safe. So I paid too much attention to safety. So make sure that it won't blow up either the servo dryers or the servos get overheated or anything. Anything happens, there's safety saver on this thing.
Yep.
Which is a thing that we didn't have with DC motor, for example. I got its bridges catch fire before, or because low quality made in China, you know, counterfeit parts, whatever. So
yeah, I mean, your approach to the Thanos, the Thanos board's the way to go because you're using more industrial-based products, not kind of off the shelf. You're not trying to put together your own, you know, low voltage system. Like I know I'm going to pick on Craig Hyde today. He actually told me not to mention it, but he ran the O drives with a 12 volt, and I know that that's not enough power to run the system.
It's not. I mean, if you want to make something that's you know, you have the ability to put peripherals on it. You need something more than that. It's not. These servos are have the same torque and speed and ability over any range. The build you see, for example, for the O drives, I know that you may have some torque when they start. This torque falls as you run. It's different technology. It's you know the way they're made because they have permanent magnets inside.
Yeah.
They won't last the torque.
No, they won't. And they got popular because of the price point. I mean, they were cheap. But you
Yeah,
get what you
that's
pay
it.
for.
Yeah,
You get what you
yeah,
pay
yeah.
for.
But
So,
you have lots of the UI. I mean, I had
yep.
people. I've seen people in the forums from the simulator, for example. They're messing with this for years until you get it working.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. I almost pulled the trigger and went that road. And and it's funny because I've been building a new simulator and I don't want to
Yeah,
retire my old one.
I mean, it's great for people who want to tinker all the time, but don't want to use it. But I had people that like, okay, we're games. You don't know about electronics. You don't know about just let us know how to connect the two plugs, and how to set the access in the software and start playing. That's what they want, So
Right.
we
So,
went this route. And the PC actuator actually helped lots of that because it made it a standard, how the geometry would be. And
yep.
that's how it went with Sim Racing Studio, because we had this geometry set.
Yep.
What will be the lengths from actuators or the traction loss and everything. So it was easier to make to be a standard,
Right.
So
Right.
you see, even the DIY now, the people that making from SFX hardware, for example, when
Yep.
they make those extra axes for traction loss or so, they make it about the same geometry,
Mhm.
so they can use it if they want to go to Sim Racing Studio, because
Right.
that's actually that's the idea behind Sim Racing Studio. It's they want to make it more easier for people, instead of have to fiddle with little numbers and slider stuff. They have limited sliders they can set. So the motion part is all pre-configured for
Right.
them. And they have little things to figure out. Just, like, okay, just asking you what's the dimensions of your rig, for example. And then if you slide, just how intense you want to have, or, and then you can start playing. There's Jeff too. He helped
I was
a lot
just
of
gonna
people
say
with
that's where you
that.
call up Jeff Weaver and say, "Can you help me tune my car?" Jeff's great. He's good people.
Yeah, I mean, he has experience. He's using that a lot. So that's what he does. He has the time to.
It's his full-time job. He left Amazon. He's working for Sim Racing Studio now. I'm so jealous. He got a job in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could do that too. I mean, I have day job, but it's government contractor type,
Okay.
so I can't really talk about it because
Yep.
of security levels and stuff.
Absolutely. I know where you live. I won't tell anybody where you live, but I know there's a big base near you. I know that for a fact.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, I wish I could, but I'm hesitant to just jump from something secure like that to. So it's still very interested in making more of this. And helping people. I have my Discord. I have the forum.
Yep.
So whenever people ask questions, I answer.
Yeah,
Even
you're
if it's
extremely active.
even if it's not control related. I have people asking about like electrical noise, or my steering wheel drops when I'm trying to drive, or it's not my job, but still
It ties together.
point them. Yeah, I point them to what could be the issue. Like, okay, you may have ground loops or whatever.
Sure.
And that's knowledge that no one will tell you actually. It's from experience, because I learned how to fix it for other people before. So it's something that you know how to to tell people how to
Yeah,
deal
and
with some.
that's how I started the support forums, because when I get into it, over 10 years ago, Discord didn't exist, and
Yeah.
I'm a big Facebooker, and there was no groups out there, and that's when I connected with the guys from Igor at DOF Reality, and I bought mine. Mine was just a kit, just a frame. I had to source my motors, and I had to build my own box, and it was very clumsy, and it's it's good when you can join groups and guys want to help you out, like you mentioned. If someone has a problem with a wheel, you'll still jump in and help out. And we've worked hard to keep those groups, keep the spam out, and no attacking people, and just doing that, just that helping people out. And I'm blown away at the thousands of people that have joined those groups. I never thought that would happen, and that was over the last 5 years. It's just exploded.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of activity, especially in X Simulator. There still is, because people still want to do the DC stuff. They do with Arduino. I mean, even if,
Yep.
but simple. They start simple, but eventually they're gonna realize that you have toys in your hands. And I had to deal with toys in my hands for years, for like since 1995 when I was doing like I had the first simulators. Didn't had you had a simple joystick, but they didn't have any motion or nothing or feedback. And then you had feedback, but you couldn't get motion actually. So you had to work your way up. I had to do the first actually made with wipers motors. It had servo system, like from RC servo, but amplified to work with wiper motor. So it was like, it wasn't even accurate. It was until I had to make my own controller, with closed loop positioning.
Okay.
That started the whole thing. Like build bigger and bigger. The first controllers I was doing, it was just DC. Then I had people asking, "Oh, can we use AC motors like industrial motors, 220 volts?" I was like, "You could." I never had the chance, but then 2013, I had people sending me stuff like, "Okay, I'm gonna send you a AC motor to." I was like, "Okay, I'll make electronics for that." So I started making electronics for AC motor platform. So I had a few people making flight simulator
with the big motors, like big industrial.
The bigger, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. When you're talking 240 volt, that's big.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really accurate, but it was strong. They could be like a cockpit on it.
Sure.
Everything. I did Kickstarter for that because people wanted more of this. I couldn't build that much because I was building everything my own. So I had to do Kickstarter to start working with companies overseas, so can build more bulk and faster than me.
Yeah.
So that was successful. The Kickstarter, I built, I think like 200 units. Something.
Wow, that's awesome. So, and was that the first version of the board? Was the Kickstarter one?
The Kickstarter. It was one. It was doing for everything. It was for DC motors, for AC motors, even some AC servo motors.
Wow. Okay.
But it was still DIY. You have to do all the wiring stuff.
Okay. Yep. So it wasn't just plug and play. It wasn't the 25 DB pin. You had actually still solder and wire onto it.
Yeah, you had a little bit soldering, to make the wiring and everything. Calibration. You have to do things. You had sensors or feedback through potentiometer. You had digital feedback. You had all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that everybody could do. So. At one point, I had people asking me, actually, from a company, they wanted to make certain servos to work. So that's how I started getting into the MD box.
Okay.
These are servos that have usually networking through network. You have to control them and stuff. But they had analog input, so I used actually the early Kickstarter version to have to be able to control them. And that evolved to another controller, the AMC-MD box, which was doing only that for that specific type motors, which it didn't pick up a lot because it wasn't really, it was strong and everything fast, but it wasn't very reliable. I had a few of them burn the circuit, the driver circuit, because of overload of the motor, for example. That was a big problem. So we're trying to build safeties around this. We fixed things, but still it was, eventually you're gonna have a few failed units, So
right.
So at that time, I started working with Sao from Pitch Actuators. He sent me some extra stuff to some actuators, some based on the MD box. But then I was like, okay, but I don't really want to keep making that. It's not reliable. So we go to the ASD servos. That's pure digital one. So I got, I bought a few of the servos. I took the same motors. I exchanged them on the actuators I had from the MD box ones. So I had actuators, right? I just transplant the servos from there. And then I was like, okay, that's way better, I couldn't make it burn for any reason. It was working. It was fast. It was more accurate. It was different way calibration. I had to calibrate it against a hard stop. I knew that if I leave for long, it will burn. But this one, it didn't burn for some reason. It will, okay, if you force it too much, I'll give you an error. But that's it. Nothing will burn. That was like, oh yeah, that's perfect. So I got how to actually switch to that. So that was actually how the explosion started using this.
Interesting.
Because,
and what year was that? What was that? 5
that
years
was
ago?
late 2018.
Okay, so about 4 years ago, 4 or 5. Yep.
4 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's how this came about. So as more this involved, like people are already using it for the SFX
Yep.
but it wasn't really compatible. It wasn't compatible at all with the DUI community, like for X Simulator or FlyPT. FlyPT was starting
Yep.
making
Fly PT. Yep.
Pedro, yeah.
Yep.
So it was the controller I made. I had to design a version of that, that had all the flags and everything. So it was plug and play. Even then, I was thinking to switch to something plug and play because I was tired of the wiring and the extra stuff. So that evolved good, I think, because there was now a controller available for people to use different software with. Instead of being locked down to just one source from sim feedback, I think it was called.
Yep.
Yeah. So some of these people wanted to go to sim tools or other software, which they just got the controller, told me, okay, we need to fix this. So it was like for 2 years, it was constantly fixing, upgrading things, making it more safe. So right now, I would say that they can just plug it. It won't jump on them. It won't do sudden things. It has all the safeties and all the easy to use. Just plug it at any problem we had. Actually, it still have some people. It's mostly electrical, for example, because they still have to do some electrical wiring or arrange the noise from the system, because even, for example, the control is fine, or the computers, all everything's crowded, they end up having like a steering wheel that the controller doesn't have ground, so it makes a ground loop. I've seen that a lot.
So it's like looping a network. Don't plug in the network to itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's we handle everything, but you still can find things,
Yep.
Or for example, some people complain about the VR because they touch the headset.
Yep.
It
motion
out.
Cancellation. Yep.
Yeah, but they don't realize that they're wiring. It's like an antenna.
That's right. That's right. You have to put that's right, without it being shielded or the right ground. It's not going to work right. Yep.
So we're trying to help people even with things that's outside the scope.
Yeah. Well, I built an OSW wheel, and one of the mistakes I made was I didn't use shielded cable, and I was getting all kinds of noise. And I quickly learned that I had to buy the shielded cable. I had to rebuild the cables, put them back together, and then it worked fine. So it's a learning process.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going good. There's still lots of interest for this. People that don't have knowledge about electronics just want to, something more plug and play, which is good. And SRS helped a lot of that because, they have great support. They try to make it so if something is fixed, it's fixed for good, so you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, their stuff is great. It's like it's real simple. It's turnkey. It just works. Like you said, for plug and play people, you load up the software and you just hit the drop down. What are you running for a simulator? You pick it, and you can load on your own profiles in, and you're up and running within minutes. Not like it used to be where you'd spend days, if not weeks, trying to program stuff.
Yeah. That's how I test my controllers too. I just have a little setup here in the office with one actuator, for example. I just plug each cable for each port, for example, when I want to send to customers, for example. And I use SRS. I plug the SRS and then use sliders to make sure
everything's functioning.
Working. Yeah.
So you actually don't have a simulator in the shop or in your office? What you're telling me?
I was planning to get one.
All right, so we got to start a crowdfunding effort to get you a machine. I'm so upset you don't have a machine.
I know. I mean, I wanted one, but I'm not sure what to get to because, like I said, I started building all that because I want to make a 60OF steward platform, which takes a lot of room.
That's what I'm doing right now is a 60OF Stewart. That's I'm printing. Like I said, just started printing the parts. When the board showed up yesterday that you sent me, I put it right in the printer.
So yeah, it's big, especially if you use linear actuators and you have to have it recessed, so you have to be lower. It's going to be more wide, it takes more space.
I actually thought about making one really big because I was thinking about doing actually 2-passenger, so I can actually have somebody sitting next to me like a dirt rally. You have a spotter, an actual driver. So my wife thought I was crazy. She goes, "You're not going to build a machine that big." I'm like, "Why not?"
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, the good thing with these servos is they're scalable. I mean, I've seen they have from the normal size. They use 90 ST for
I'm using the 99 STs. That's what I'm using.
130 ST. There's a guy in New Mexico, for example, has a motion platform 60OF. I don't know if you've seen the videos I've shared sometimes. He built a 737 cockpit, full size with full cockpit, all operational.
I think I did see that. Did he, with the windows out? Did he put screens? Did he put monitors with the windows out?
He put monitors around.
I did see that.
Not monitors, actually, it's projectors. So
projectors. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was projectors. You're right. You're right. I did see that setup.
He used the full cut nose from the actual airplane.
Incredible.
So he just put all the electronics inside.
And that's running a Stewart platform.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's
amazing.
He used big motors, so he had to use, like, for example, the 130 ST of the AST.
Yep.
Yeah.
And size-wise, is that twice the size of a 90 ST or an 80 ST? Is that double the size?
It's like 3 times bigger.
3 times? Wow, that's really big then. So that's you're talking.
He had to use double reduction gearboxes to hold the weight because this is like I think like it's like 2 or 3 tons.
Okay,
it's big.
Wow, so that's big industrial. That's about the size. My midge motor, I think that's pretty good. The one I use on my OSW, that's a good size motor.
Yeah, and he needed slower speed because he does commercial flight airplanes. He does no acrobatics, but he still had to use slower speed, smarts. So because all the electronics inside, can you imagine all the vibration while it's taking off or landing?
Right.
I could see the video that he made with the takeoff, and I could see the camera vibrating. I was like, okay, I mean, that was like, wow. I mean, it's like a real airplane. That's exactly what you feel. And then when he lifts up, you see exactly the same motion, like when you feel on an airplane.
Okay.
And I was in commercial plane, and to fly around, and I know how that feels. But it was even more amplified than when I did my own flight, for example, back then, with the instructor. So you could see it, it's really amplified when it goes. So if you see his platform, like the one in New Mexico, he's using the most range it has, it's for the heave.
Okay.
It's not, it can move, all the rest, but it's mostly adjusted so it will have the most heat because that's where the most effect you get.
Yep.
For flight.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, when you do recessed flight simulator, for example, recessed 60OF.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Recessed. I'm going to drop inside.
It's giving you more effects for
traction loss, like side to side.
Yes. For traction loss or short sway. That's where you get more the effects with this because they're lower profile, so you get more travel for.
Sure. Just the geometry. You think about how it's set up. You're dropping inside, so a little bit of motion, you get a big spin. Yeah,
you get less pitched roll. But that's actually good for racing because for racing you don't get that much. I mean, you feel some pitched roll, but that's you don't need that much. You need very little degree just for sustainable. For example, when you turn the same turn, but then it depends on the forces which way you go. So you may get into a turn, for example, and then when it balances out, you may see the screen still turning, but you'll see it changes the direction.
Right. So, like I tell people, it's all an illusion. Especially when you're in VR, you have to trick your mind to make you feel like you're really there. So. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way you feel when you drive it. You go on like in a snake road.
Yep.
You'll see that in the middle of the turn, even if you didn't think turn, you'll see the forces changing direction already.
Right.
So that's what's with 60OF. You have either have enclosed environment, so you don't
Yep.
see the actual reference from outside,
Correct.
or just use VR.
Using VR, right, to trick your mind. Exactly.
Yeah, in VR you don't even use that much motion. You need less ranges because it's even more amplified.
Yep. Yep.
You have the motion control and everything, the
Yes.
compensation,
Yep.
but still you don't need that much. I've seen some videos recently that someone's posting. They use the 3DOF, with the particle accelerators, and they're going. The car started doing the like a vibration. You can see in the headset it's going. The video is
The
going
screen
like
was
this.
shaking. Yeah.
Like, okay, why? I mean, that's not helping at all.
Right. Right. It's not normal. Right. Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, outside of the motion board, I know you dabbled a little bit in the OSW and the wheels. Did you ever actually pursue that any further? I know that I use a Granity board in mine. So did that just kind of die off? Because I know you were doing it for a little while, right?
Yeah, I built a few boards for that because people want something plug and play for in that field too. Because again, using the steam motors, the same, because they're destructible. And then I was using a custom design board, but with the firmware for the MMOs. MMOs was back in 2014.
Okay.
I built even back then, 2014, was working with a programmer to build some wireless connectors and stuff.
Really? That's pretty cool.
So I still have some of that stuff that you had a wireless button, for example, support, or wireless charging for so you don't have to charge the buttons and everything. But,
sure. Yeah, mine's hardwired. It's a pain.
Yeah, I mean, these days you have other solutions to do wireless separately, like the
you can do Bluetooth, but yeah, you have a lag with the Bluetooth.
Yep. Yeah, I mean the steering wheel I built lately that I had to use. I didn't want to have a new wires and everything, so I built my actual wheel with the buttons and everything with a Blue HIT, so it's fine, But anyway, the control system was, like I said, built on MMOs firmware. So I just had to use the standard STM32 that was built for. It was just a custom firmware, just custom design, so it will be plug and play with the SD. And a few peripherals, like I had, for example, what was for the steering, the shifter. I don't remember the G25 shifter and pedals I had. So I put plugs for that. It was, just basic stuff. People can just use something else, or use separate entirely. I had people just use their own USB for.
Okay.
But anyway, the thing it fell victim of the chip shortage too.
I know the chip short. It's so brutal. So
I was using a certain DAC chip for that, so it was digital to analog conversion for the torque for the servo drive, because there's pure torque. I was driving servo pure torque, but that specific chip was like not being made anymore, or if they say they're gonna make it, it was years after 2024 or something.
Not gonna work.
Okay. At the meantime, people was like, okay, we'll just use RC, like something to substitute it with RC circuit or something, so it will be slower, not so accurate, but still work. Okay, but then you don't have even the STM32 controllers anymore. It's like you can't find them. I've seen some places they sell the same boards, even development boards, you get it for $10. They sell them $70 now.
Yeah, it's crazy. We've seen numerous parts that have gone up X times, like HMI controllers. And it's funny because the gentleman that's my CFO and the guy that's in charge of purchasing, I'm like, we're not helping the matter, because like when we find parts now, we buy them all. Like if we find 10 of something, even though we need 2, we'll buy all 10. And I'm like, we're making it worse.
Yeah, I bought some chips, for example. The only place I could find them, it was like AliExpress, which turned out they didn't even have it. They canceled the order.
Crazy.
frustrating.
It's very frustrating, very frustrating. So, yep.
So anyway, I mean, it's still it's still more hobby than business for me. So, but I had to build the business around it so I can make it available for people. So, it not only for certain companies. I could just have it, for example, available on the PT actuator microcontroller, but I didn't want to that. I didn't want to limit people just to do the PT actuator hardware. So they can use it for SFX hardware, or they can use entirely do it yourself. There's another fellow that's building 60-wave linear actuators, which are made for aluminum profile. So it's not even, you don't even have to do much hardware work. You just order the profiles.
I saw that. Yeah, AliExpress. They sell the kit now. They put it together. So they sell the kit with the aluminum and the motors.
That's not the e-racing. That's what's called departed reality.
Yeah, yes, they do it too. Yeah, departed reality. They have.
Which is just have the plans. It's free plans. You know what to get, aluminum profiles, what materials to get, each screw, what everything. You just screw more stuff together. There's a little hardware you have to get, or there's some specific hardware that can help you. You know, just give you some links or stuff that you don't have to look or manufacture yourself. Makes it easier to assemble things, and then. You know, it's like people like that. You know, I like to have my controller available to everybody, so everybody can benefit from using these servos, because they're, to my opinion, they're the best I could find it from safety perspective. And accuracy, everything. And plus now, after complaining for years for those for the 10 kilohertz noise, I don't know if you heard about that.
I did.
Finally, the manufacturer listened to us and made a version of it that doesn't have that noise anymore.
Yeah, it was like a motor drive hum. Was like a high pitch.
Yeah, the IGBT frequency, they have to switch the AC voltage. It was around 10 kilohertz. Some people can really hear it. So
it's funny. When I first started 3D printing, that was my wife's biggest complaint, was how loud the printer was, because the high frequency drives, because the motor drivers were just so loud. And she'd be like, move that thing to the garage. I don't want to listen to that in the living room.
Yeah, I mean, they changed the frequency. So it's about 16 kilohertz now. It's very, very small percentage of people can still hear it, annoy them.
Sure.
You know, so it's gonna work better. They changed the color too. They made it white now. I don't know why, but anyway.
Okay, makes sense. So, yeah, like I said, I'm still more upset that you don't have an actual sim rig right now. I'm going to make that my goal to get. I'm going to try to put a post together and get some crowdfunding here, because when I come back out to the West Coast, because now that COVID's pretty much over, we have a plant in Southern California, and I will come out and I'm going to take you to dinner, and I want to come over to your house and I want to play in the sim with you, but you don't have a sim, so we need to build you a simulator.
I know.
People watching this are going to be shocked. They're going to be totally shocked to find out that the famous guy behind the Thanos board, Thanos himself, does not actually have a racing sim right now.
There's not much time. I mean, you know, if I have to split my time between supporting or like development, there's little time to play with.
Well, there's got to be some crossover between enjoying the sim and development. There's got to be a little there where the two of them connect.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even have vacation. Seriously, I mean, I haven't had vacation since I was in Greece. Actually, now I'm thinking it. You know, it's just
been that long, huh? It's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, even my days off, it was just to do things. You know, like build stuff.
Yeah. So I'm sure. I know it's I'm the same way. I've got 3 daughters. I've got a business I run. I still work full time. It's tough. Time is the one thing we can't get back.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, like I said, Thanos, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to kind of give me some history and overview of your company, or well, you call it hobby, but your company. I mean, you're doing an amazing thing over there with the boards you've developed and sold. I'll link your information for everybody below. I'll link your YouTube channel along with your website. So anyone that's interested, definitely check out Thanos's business, what he's got going on. Amazing product. I cannot wait to get my board up and running with my new actuators I'm building right now. And I'll be posting a build video series with that on the same channel right here that I'm posting this on the Motion Sim Builders.
Yeah, so you're welcome.
All right. But anything else you want to add before I cut you off here?
Yeah, we're fine.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and just hit stop.